All right. Will the meeting of the Planning and Zoning Commission for Wednesday, the 6th of January, 2021, please come to order. This evening's meeting will be in a virtual planning and zoning meeting in the Zoom platform. Our procedures will be as follows. 1, when you first enter the meeting, you will be in the virtual waiting room until the meeting host admits you. 2, please be aware that your camera, if you have one, and microphone will be muted by the meeting host when you enter the meeting. You can turn on your camera at any time so you can be seen by others if you so choose. In order to run an efficient and orderly meeting in this environment, unless otherwise stated by the meeting chairman during the meeting host will keep everyone other than the commission members muted. You will still be able to hear everything said by the commission members, even if you are muted and your camera is not on. There will be the opportunity for public comment during public hearings, at which time public participants will be unmuted. 3, the secretary will read the legal call of the meeting as published according to Governor Lamont's Executive Order 7B. 4, during the public hearing, the applicant will be invited to present the application, explaining to the commission and others present what is being requested. The meeting host will share all related documents on the screen as needed. In addition, all applications and supporting materials for each application on the agenda are available through the public meeting calendar page on the town's website, www.ci.guilford.ct.us, and through a direct link on the planning and zoning page. 5, comments of town agencies will be read for each application if there are any, and there will be clarifying questions from commissioners. 6, there will then be the opportunity for clarifying questions from the audience. Please raise your hand through the Zoom platform and wait to be called on and unmuted. First, those who wish to support the application may come forward. Second, those who oppose the application can come forward. As this is a public hearing, it must be recorded. It is necessary for speakers to identify themselves each time they speak, stating their name and address. 7, the applicant will then have the opportunity to address any questions or concerns raised by the public or the commissioners. 8, once the public hearing is closed, the applicant is free to leave or remain for the balance of the public hearings and the regular meeting, during which time the commission will try and reach a decision on each application. Each applicant will be notified in writing as to the decision of the commission and has the right to appeal to Superior Court if desired. 9, decisions of this meeting are available the day after the meeting by calling the Planning and Zoning Department at 203-453-8039 or by emailing planning.zoning@ci.guilford.ct.us after 9 a.m. 10, all actions taken tonight by the commission will be on a roll call vote. All commissioners and staff will identify themselves for the record before speaking. Seated this evening are the following commission members. If you could just screen share, I could see who is here. And
Here we go.
So, Richard Wallace.
Good evening.
Scott Edmond.
Hello.
Sean Cosgrove.
Here.
Frank DeAndrea. I see Jamie Stein and Bill Freeman. Have I missed anyone?
Did you get Sean?
I did see Sean. So we do not have Alan, correct?
No.
And no Matt Yurzinski. So
No.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 of us, everyone is seated. I would like to start, if someone is here for, actually we have to read the legal call. So Richard, if you could do that, that would be great.
Do the housekeeping.
Yes, please.
Happy New Year, everyone.
Happy New Year.
Notice is hereby given that the Guilford Planning and Zoning Commission will hold a public hearing on January 6, 2021. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, this meeting will be conducted through a web and phone meeting only. Attendees are advised to not to go to the regular community center location because a physical meeting will not take place. See below for sign-in Zoom meeting ID 938-8776-7951, passcode 655951. The following applications will be heard. Stephen Vergadamo, care of Bailey Building Company, Inc., 122 Seaside Avenue, map 24, lot 5, zone R3, coastal site plan application for demolition of existing house and construction of a new single-family house. Guilford Realty Partners, 351 Whitfield Street, map 28, lot 12, zone I1, site plan application and coastal site plan to allow temporary office trailer for 4 catalyzers in existing parking lot. Helen S. Mayer, 149 West Lane, map 5, lot 28, zone R5, coastal site plan and subdivision application for 2 lots. Ocean Co. LLC, 506 Whitfield Street, map 29, lot 100, zone C2-M, coastal site plan and special permit application per section 273-75Q, subsection 2, to allow outdoor music at Pa's Place Restaurant. Copies of these applications are available for inspection in the Planning and Zoning Office on the town website of www.ci.guilford.ct.us. At this hearing, persons may attend by either phone or web connection and shall be heard. Pursuant to the governor's executive order 7B, any materials relevant to the matters on the agenda, including but not limited to materials related to specific applications, if applicable, shall be submitted to the agency a minimum of 24 hours prior and posted to the agency's website for public inspection prior to, during, and after this meeting. Any exhibits and be submitted by members of the public shall be feasible to be submitted a minimum of 24 hours prior. All written correspondence shall be submitted to planning.zoning at ci.guilford.ct.us. Documents are available at the Planning and Zoning Office. Dial 203-453-8039 for assistance. In accordance with the Governor's Executive Order 71, this legal notice is being published on the Town of Guilford website, www.ci.guilford.ct.us. Dated at Guilford, Connecticut, this 24th day of December 2020. Philip Johnson, Chairman.
Thank you. Let me just do a little house cleaning that I forgot to. Seated also are the following members of town staff: George Kroll, our town planner; Aaron Mannix, our zoning enforcement officer; and Lisa Piombino, our planning and zoning administrative assistant. This meeting will be recorded via the Zoom platform and made available on the town's website for viewing. So sorry, I did not mean to leave you off.
Okay.
So quick question, is anybody, I'm going to just jump a quick agenda item and go right to Ocean Co. LLC. Is anybody here to present on behalf of Ocean Co.?
No, I don't believe anyone is here at this point.
Okay, well, we'll give them the opportunity to come in a little bit later. We've got a request for Stephen Vergadamo, CO Bailey Building Company, 122 Seaside Avenue, map 24, lot 5, zone R3, coastal site plan application for demolition of existing house and construction of new single-family home. They have requested to open and continue to the 20th. Would
So
That's
moved.
correct.
Thank you.
Second.
All right, I'll call the vote. Sean Cosgrove,
Yes.
Richard Wallace,
Yes.
Frank DeAndrea,
Yes.
Jamie Stein,
Yes.
Bill Freeman,
Yes.
and I will also vote to continue. We have opened and we will hear them on the 20th. Next one is Guilford Realty Partners, 351 Whitfield Street, map 28, lot 12, zone I1. Site plan application for coastal site plan to allow temporary office trailer for 4 catalyzer, an existing parking lot. There's a request to table to the 20th of
So moved.
our next meeting. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you.
Second.
Call the vote. Sean Cosgrove,
Yes.
Richard Wallace,
Yes.
Frank DeAndrea,
Yes.
Jamie Stein,
Yes.
Bill Freeman.
Yes.
I shall also vote to move this to the
Philip,
20th.
you're gonna have to add me to your list.
I'm sorry, Scott.
No problem.
And I'm
I vote
looking right
yes.
at you. For everyone that's in attendance, Commissioner Scott Edmund. I thought I even checked you off, but Thank you, Scott. I'm sorry about that. So it doesn't appear that anyone's here for Ocean Co yet. So we will move to Helen S. Mayer, 149 West Lane, map 5, lot 28, zone R5, coastal site plan and subdivision application for 2 lots. Is someone here on behalf of Ms. Mayer?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, Chuck Mandel, agent for the applicant.
Hello, Chuck. Good evening.
Good evening. I was a little distracted today watching the news, so my prep isn't great, but it'll be sufficient for tonight.
Great, thank you.
Okay.
Would you like me to share site plan, Chuck? Anything in particular?
Well, I'll read through what I have, and then we can look at the plan after I give my little blurb. You can put it on afterwards or during. So as I said, good evening, Chuck Mandel, agent for the applicant, Helen Mayer. The property address is 149 West Lane. It's a 3.9 acre parcel in an R5 zone, and it's adjacent to the Long Island Sound. We're proposing 2 80,000 square foot plus building lots. We had originally started this project in January of 08, and we had performed soil testing with Dennis Johnson, and we did receive wetlands approval at that time also. The project stopped at that point. I'm not sure why, but the wetlands approval has expired, had expired. We then reapplied to the Inland Wetland Commission, and we got reapproval on December 9th. In regards to the soil testing, we also received a letter from Sonia Marino, and she concurred with Dennis Johnson's analyses that the conceptual plan that we had presented in 08, and to quote her, can be approved by local health. The wetlands approval actually consisted of stormwater mitigation of impervious surfaces via a bioretention area or rain gardens. And we are going to create a second lot, and we're going to remove and replace portions of the existing lot, and I'll show you on the plan where that is shown. It's a hatched area. And we also have 2 waiver requests, and I'd like those read into the record when we get to that point. One was for the view standards, and the second, well, it wasn't a request, it was just a fee in lieu of. It's not really a waiver we were asking for. It was just a fee in lieu of open space. That's a little pesky subject for me, but that's all right. We'll read through that. We can discuss that later on. So Aaron, if you want to show, if anyone has any questions, you can show the map and I can relay that to you.
Let's see, I can get this a little bigger here for you.
Okay, so we can start at West Lane if you want. There's a little bit more activity going on down there. So as you can see, to the south, there was an existing driveway that led to a potential house location. There are 2 wetland pockets on either side. We had those flagged by David Lord. Those were in 08. That hatched area in there where it says right in there, that's the existing driveway. So we're going to actually remove that and have it replanted with some native vegetation. And we're also going to create a slight depression in there just to capture any impervious surface, any water runoff that was created additionally from flattening that out. The rain garden to the north is going to capture all the driveway water from the secondary house up on top there. I think that's pretty much it. I mean, West Lane is a private road. It starts, there's elevation 33 down at the bottom. And this is one of the requests that we're asking for the view lane. If you elevation 33 and you go up the lot line, it goes to 44. So based on the topography, you would never see Long Island Sound without climbing, without going up on top of the hill. And that drops down to elevation, well, 2.6 or 0. It's down by the water, exactly. You can see the little triangles there. We did some extensive soil testing. We are potentially, this potential septic areas can go there. You can see there's a 100-foot line that's shown there. It shows 100 foot from the high tide line. That's the 100-foot line. The systems themselves will probably be another 50 feet uphill from there. So from the high tide line will probably be about 150 feet from the Long Island Sound. You can also see the flood zones are shown on this plan. There's flood zone X, and it's also VE13. There'll be no development in the VE13 zone. And in regards to CAM, erosion, this is all rocky shorefront up here. So rocky shorefront isn't very erodible anyway. So we're not concerned with any runoff during construction, but we are showing silt fence along the proposed construction for the septic system. And we have the stockpile areas as well. And if you have any questions, we could read the 2 waivers into the record if you want, or if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer.
Let me, for the benefit of the commission, Aaron, can I screen share for a sec?
Yes.
So this is the Google Earth image of the lot. It runs like this down, and from my reading of the map, it looks like it's pretty much divided up the middle. Is that right, Chuck?
Yes, correct.
I just wanted. And so
Chuck, to clarify, there previously was a house on this lot, correct?
You know, that's a good question. That in 08, maybe
I thought I
Michael
saw
Hall's
one
back
on
here.
a-
And
on a
Michael,
historic.
you
Hold on.
jump in here?
let me see if I can help. Let's see.
I don't, to my recollection, I don't remember a house being up there.
I thought there
It's
was.
not, I mean, obviously the images from 92 don't lend
I
much.
thought there was on the 2005 aerial.
This is Michael Salzbach.
Michael.
In fact, there was 85 Fair Street, by the way. There was a house
Maybe right there.
on that originally when it was purchased by the mayors. It was not the world's best construction. It was sort of rotting before your eyes.
It appears to be right here.
There had been some site work after the house was removed.
Oh,
Yeah, all that was cleared.
actually, I do recall a structure, and I wouldn't have called it a house. You're exactly right, Michael. It was coming up the driveway to the south, and it ended, as you saw on that, right in there, Aaron.
Right there.
That's exactly where it was, and we replanted it. I didn't think it was a house. I thought it was more of like a garage. It was some rotting structure. You're absolutely right.
You see it on this one from.
Yes.
Okay,
Yep. Actually, that's in better condition there than when I saw it.
okay.
All right, well, that was merely for everyone.
Oh, no, nope, you jogged my memory.
Yeah, I
There
just
there
thought
was
it
a
came up-
structure there.
With the sanitarian, had asked that, and when we looked at the aerials, it appeared that there was a house, but I wasn't sure what the structure was. So,
Yes,
thank
no,
you.
it was a dilapidated structure by the time we had seen it.
Why don't we try and read some of these items in? So I'll grab the one
Here's
from
the,
Sonia.
oh, okay, I've got some waivers.
I got it in front of me. So this is from Sonia Marino, January 5th, 2021, 149 Wesleyan map 05, lot 28, Guilford, Connecticut, 06437, 2-lot subdivision. The applicant is for a 2-lot subdivision on the above referenced property is approved by the health department. Approval is contingent on the demonstration of a 4-foot from bottom of system ledge rock with a minimum of 2-foot natural occurring soils. Please note that although the areas are technically unsuitable per CT PHC, the engineer has provided a conceptual plan that can be approved by local health. The plan is based on soil tests that have at least 2 feet of naturally occurring soils, potentially suitable soils within the system area, 10 foot around the perimeter of the system, and 25-foot downgrade of the system. Please note that select fill will need to be placed and additional soil testing completed to demonstrate 4-foot thick to ledge rock. Each lot will also require a professional engineered plan that is reviewed and approved by the health department. This will need to be done before a permit to construct can be issued. Thank you. Frank, you want to grab the first letter from Tom Stevens?
Can you screen share it?
Yes, I'm getting there, sorry.
If not, I could pull it up on my phone again.
Excuse
Okay,
me,
this is-
I don't mean to interrupt, but could we reread the view lane one first? I'm sorry.
Yes, we can.
Okay,
for it,
thank
Mike.
you.
You want me to read that one?
Sure.
Yes, please.
Okay, this dated December 30th, 2020 to the Planning and Zoning Commission. Reason 149 Wesleyan, request for waiver of view lane. Dear Commission members, the applicant respectfully requests the Commission to waive the requirements per section 273-91-J view standards. This parcel is eligible for a waiver under 273-91J subsection 5. Specifically, the topography limits any view from the traveled way and would serve no useful purpose for the passerby on the road. Sincerely, Chuck Mandel, agent for the applicant.
So basically, I've driven by it. It appears that from the road, you're fairly low, then the ground goes up and then goes back down. So there really is not much you can see from the road.
Correct.
Very good.
Okay.
And then there's another letter. No, is that right? Or is that all part of the first one?
This is the
This is the
fee in
second.
lieu of.
Okay.
But yeah, this
So the
is
second
to address the open space requirements.
Sean, you want to grab the second one?
Sure, it is dated December 21st, 2020 to Planning and Zoning Commission, Guilford, Connecticut, regarding 149 West Lane, request for fee in lieu of open space dedication. Dear Commission members, per section 272-41, subparagraph 2B, the applicant respectfully requests the Commission grant a fee in lieu of land. This is a 2-lot subdivision of a 4-acre parcel on West Lane. Each lot will conform with all applicable regulations. Each has been approved by the Inland Wetlands Commission. The topography of the site, the wetlands affecting the entry to each and no adjacent open space parcels preclude dedication in accordance with section 272-41 of Guilford subsection code. We conferred with town staff and feel $5,000 per lot due upon sale of said lots is a reasonable fee. In economic terms, the 2-lot subdivision will benefit the town of Guilford by virtually doubling the property taxes attributable to the site even before any dwellings are constructed. Sincerely, Chuck Mandel, agent for the applicant.
So that's the request for the fee in lieu of a property donation or easement, I believe. Jamie, you want to grab the letter from Kevin McGee?
Sure. I think it's the one that Aaron has up here.
Yes.
Dated December 31st, 2020 to the Guilford Planning and Zoning Commission from Kevin McGee, environmental planner, regarding the coastal area management and subdivision review of 149 West Lane, Guilford, Connecticut, 06437, assessor map 5, lot 28. The property owner is proposing to subdivide a 3.9 acre lot into 2 lots and construct a house and sanitary system on each lot. The eastern portion of the property is located in a FEMA zone VE, elevation 13, and a flood zone X. Coastal resources at the site are comprised of coastal waters, rocky shorefront, bluffs, and escarpments. The plans submitted do not provide for any low impact designs for handling roof water. The site plan provides for erosion and sedimentation control measures that are designed to protect the adjacent coastal resources. The work being conducted could have an impact on the adjacent coastal resources if the erosion and sedimentation control measures are not properly installed and maintained. Inland wetlands are located along the eastern side of the property. The Guilford Inland Wetlands Commission at its September 11th, is this date correct? 2013, approved regulated activity for the restoration of 3,513 square feet of upland review area. The removal of a portion of the existing driveway, the installation of driveway on the northern lot, and the installation of a rain garden. This approval was extended by the Commission at their November 11th, 2020 meeting, the Inland Wetlands Commission at their December 9th, 2020 meeting approved a favorable subdivision referral to the Planning and Zoning Commission. In order to meet the open space requirements of the subdivision regulations, the applicant is requesting to pay a fee in lieu of land in the amount of $10,000, which breaks down to $5,000 per lot. The Planning and Zoning Commission has recently approved a fee in lieu of land for a 1.75 acre subdivision at 885 Nut Plains Road, in which an appraisal was conducted in accordance to Connecticut General Statute Section 8-25. The fee in lieu of land for the subdivision of 885 Nut Plains Road was valued at $12,500, which broke down to a payment of $6,250 per lot. I guess that's the end.
There's a
That was
second
another page.
that's
Oh.
missing. Here you go.
Okay, thank you. I
Sorry.
recommend that the Planning and Zoning Commission approve the 2-lot subdivision with the fee in lieu of land in order to protect the coastal resources with the following conditions. That the fee in lieu of land for this property be increased to $12,500, which is the same value as the subdivision on Nut Plains Road. Prior to the certificate of zoning compliance for each lot, that $6,250 be paid to the town of Guilford. Number 2, as noted in section 272-24 of the subdivision regulations, a digitized copy of the final subdivision plan be submitted to the commission in PDF format showing all property lines. Number 3, as part of a building permit application, the applicant should show low impact design for stormwater in accordance with section L of the coastal area management regulations. And number 4, the town of Guilford zoning enforcement officer should be notified to inspect the sedimentation and erosion control measures prior to any site construction. Soil stockpiles should be contained by silt fencing and/or hay bales. Soil erosion and sedimentation control measures shall be maintained until vegetation is established or suitable material is installed to the satisfaction of the zoning enforcement officer.
Okay. Any questions from applicants with respect to this application? Or Chuck, do you have any more things to add?
No, I believe we discussed it with our client that Kevin's bump to the 6,000, whatever that number, 6,500, whatever that number was acceptable for the fee in lieu of.
Okay, so they're fine with increasing it?
Yes.
Because I feel somewhat awkward having town staff had worked with the applicant on the $10,000 number to now bump that. And I'm not quite sure exactly why Kevin did that, but I'm willing to at least have a discussion about that with commission members.
Well, I understand that, and I wasn't gonna, it's probably not the right venue to discuss this whole open space fee in lieu of waivers, that type of thing. So I noticed you guys had started it and then you dropped it and you never picked up on it. I was just curious if that was ever going to be on your agenda to straighten this out.
What do you mean?
In regards to, I know other projects, we had asked for a waiver completely and had been granted waivers of any monetary amount.
Yeah.
So I don't
Typically, in
understand.
those instances, Chuck, we have had a dedication of land, whether there's a conservation easement or some sort of open
Yep,
space. And so
I understand that. Yep.
I think
in
we,
this situation, that's not really practical to have a conservation
No,
easement. in any public
I get that,
access.
Aaron. It was just, like I said, this isn't the time to discuss this, so we can talk about it at some other time. About
so
we have no problem with
Chuck, this is
Kevin's
George.
recommendation.
We are addressing this in our review of the subdivision code and the zoning code. We're going to be making a proposal to the commission as part of that comprehensive review with regard to this matter. So that's
Okay.
probably the proper time to discuss
Right.
it.
agree.
As you
Or is that going to include parameters on coming up with the correct number?
Correct
Right.
number is based
That's
on
all.
the state statute. It's a 10% requirement. You do
10%
have,
of-
the commission, it is written in your regulations that you
10%
have
of what?
the
Of the value of the
10%
land?
of the appraised value of the land. This particular lot is appraised at $3 million. So that would be a $300,000 fee in lieu. which is for a
We can all agree that that's
lot
probably
subdivision,
pretty unreasonable.
could be on the high side.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I
This is
agree with the
Jamie.
commission on that one.
Yeah, but it begs the question, where did we get the number?
The 10%,
The 12,500 for a 1.75.
12,500 that Kevin is referencing came specifically from an appraisal on a piece of property on Nut Plains Road that went for a subdivision. That was the value of that particular property, and 10% of that was 12,500. And what I'm assuming from his memo is that he believes that based on that subdivision, that allowing a 3 million, a property that's valued at $3 million should try to be at least the equivalent of that to
Oh, okay, thank you.
perhaps to
Yeah.
avoid that applicant from being
Are
upset.
trying to,
Hmm.
in the new regulations, we're going to do two things at least. One is we're going to be consistent with state law. And number two, we're going to try to give the commission enough flexibility to deal with unusual circumstances like this one, where you might end up with a, rather extreme open space dedicate or fee in lieu of. So we're going to be discussing this, I'm sure, the commission when we have that presentation later this year.
So the proposed fee is 12,500, I think it was, correct?
Yes. I believe
Okay.
it is.
And I'm assuming the commission is okay with that? Any questions from commissioners?
I was wondering what section L is.
Section what?
L, the rainwater part there.
Oh, of the CAM 91L? Is that what he?
Yep.
In Kevin's memo, is that what you're referencing?
It was number 3 on the list.
Yeah, it's in the
I
CAM.
think it was 91, which is the CAM section. I can read that for you. Hold on. Low impact development practices. The applicant shall demonstrate that the use of LID practices as recommended in the Connecticut Stormwater Quality Manual have been incorporated into this proposed project. These practices shall be required except to the extent the commission determines that strict adherence to the LID practices is not practical. New and redevelopment shall minimize the creation of impervious surfaces. I think some of that with the removal of the existing driveway is a reduction in that. And as far as, do you have any plans, Chuck, I guess, for roof leader infiltration?
Yeah, the rain garden was sized for the house also.
That's for the one lot, what, the other
Yeah,
one?
the other lot, we have that depression that we're going to be creating
depression,
in the
okay.
cleared area. So we are doing the LID.
Okay,
Okay,
terrific.
The view regulation that we talked about, is that only from the road? It's not from like adjacent lot across
It
the
is.
road or anything like that?
that's from the public from the right of way.
So yeah,
And
it's only based
typically,
off the road.
it's typically considered a side yard setback, one of the side yard requirements.
And I believe Wesleyan is a private road, so it's not
It
really
is.
a public road.
Are there any other questions from commissioners? Are there any questions from the public with respect to this? Sorry, Chuck, are you good with this?
Oh, yeah, no, I'm fine. I'll answer any questions anyone has.
Are there any questions from the public with respect to this application? Obviously, if you don't have a camera on and you're muted, I have no idea if you would like to speak or not. So I'm going to operate under the assumption that there are no additional questions because I don't see anybody raising a hand. Would anybody like to speak in favor of this application? Would anyone like to speak against this application? With no comments either in favor or against, would someone like to make a motion to close?
So moved.
Second,
Thank you. We'll call a vote. Sean Cosgrove,
yes.
Richard Wallace,
Yes.
Frank DeAndrea,
Aye.
Jamie Stein,
Yes,
Bill Freeman,
Yes.
Scott Edmund.
Yes.
Thank you, sir. And I will also vote to close. We will act on that this evening. Is anybody here from Pause Place?
Thank
I
you.
don't see anybody. Phil.
Okay, well, I'm going to explain that we received a letter from the Connecticut Department of Energy and Environmental Protection, basically stating that a consent order that was entered into by Ocean Co. Back in 2019 has not been fully adhered to, and the conditions of it, it's extensive. So if you are so interested in reading it, and I have, it's a good read, but basically the state of Connecticut has asked us not to act on this application until the conditions of the consent order have been met. So I am proposing that we table this application to March 17th.
So moved.
Hopefully that gives them time to, if they had been here, I would have asked them how long it would take them to do this, but we can table it to the 17th, and that would give them at least a couple months.
I agree, Phil. It's quite extensive what the order of consent.
Are there any possible tripwires from extending it that long or anything?
I'll kick
It's
that
within the
question to town staff.
statutory- It's within the statutory timeframe allowed.
So there's some legal stuff they have to do, there's some physical stuff they have to do, and they have to get it straightened out with the state. So I think giving them a couple months to do that is sufficient, or at least it's a start, and we can go from there.
If the applicant ends up making progress ahead of time and has resolved that, he can always send a request to the commission asking to move that forward.
Fine. Would someone like to make a motion to table this to the 17th?
So moved.
So moved.
So that was Sean first and Richard second. I'll call the vote. Sean Cosgrove,
Yes.
Richard Wallace,
Yes.
Frank DeAndrea,
Yes.
Jamie Stein,
yes,
Bill Freeman,
Yes.
Scott Edmund,
Yes.
and I will also vote to move this to March 17th. That's our second meeting in March. All right, let's see where we are. So let's go to deliberation of public hearings. The only one we have to deliberate on is Helen S. Mayer in the subdivision. Are there any discussion items from commissioners on it? I mean, it's pretty straightforward.
Doesn't mention anything about the fee in lieu of in the motion.
It probably, should it also mention?
At all,
Right, I believe Kevin's memo does reference that.
Yeah, we can just use
12,500.
Kevin's stipulation.
Okay.
Right.
And also, what else?
There should also be,
Is there a reference to waiving the requirement on the view lane?
yes,
in the
that
memo?
should
Okay.
be included as well as part of your motion.
All right. I guess, would someone like to make a motion and then we can discuss it?
I'll grab it.
Thank you, Richard.
Voted that the Guilford Planning and Zoning Commission approve a coastal site plan and subdivision application for Helen S. Mayer, 149 Wesleyan, map 5, lot 28, as shown on subdivision and coastal site plan Helen Mayer, dated 11/4/20 by Thomas A. Stevens and Associates. The application is approved with the following conditions stipulated by Kevin McGee and the waiver of the view lane.
Okay.
This application is approved based upon finding that it conforms with the zoning and subdivision codes and is consistent with the coastal management policies of the state of Connecticut.
I think the health department chair memo was stipulating that some requirements were met before they got a building permit, correct?
That's correct.
So Richard, would you like to also add the conditions as noted in
Adding
the,
also the conditions stipulated by the the town health officer
Dated
in
January
regards to
5th.
the septic system.
Great, thank you. Thank you, Scott. Would someone like to second that?
Second.
Thank you. Discussion, concerns, problems?
Hey, Bill, it's Jamie. I don't have any particular to this application, but I do think it raises something that I look forward to reviewing, this fee in lieu of number. You know, I think since this number was arrived at with town staff, you know, I'm comfortable moving forward with it, but perhaps there is in future, maybe we could look at comparable sites and what they paid. I mean, I don't know if there's a statute of limitations, so if you can go back 2 years and find a similar sort of parcel and see what they paid, but to me, it's a little too loosey-goosey.
I think part of the issue is that this is a pretty unique site. I mean, I don't think you're gonna find many vacant pieces of land of this size on the water. And they are substantially assessed. But I agree with you, we should try and tighten that up and figure out kind of a consistent way. But I also think that, you know, the statute does give us discretion. And I think if we applied this as a 10% fee, no one would ever do it. So
It's possible that you could put a cap on it, right? So it's
Right.
10% up to a certain amount. But
There are all kinds of ways to do it. You can do proration, you can put a cap on it.
So
There's a way.
Allow for combinations. The statutes and the regulations do allow for a mix of
Yeah,
some
right.
fee in lieu or this, yeah, so there's.
I completely agree with Jamie and Scott that, you know, we should.
I guess I'm also curious, like, who has the stake in this? Is this more of a Board of Selectmen decision as opposed to planning and zoning, or?
No, it's in the statutes.
No.
with
It
the
seems strange
authority
that,
lies-
it's strange that we're trying to actually get money for the
It's
town.
the Planning Commission, so the statutes are in that reflect the general statutes to allow for subdivisions, allow towns to accept a fee in lieu when open space. So they've acknowledged the importance of open space. And
could we note this on our planning and zoning rewrite that?
oh, it's in there for sure.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Is the open space always for no matter what the size of the lot is? I mean, it seems kind of
10%
strange that you would have an open space requirement on a 2-point-something acre lot. It just doesn't seem to make sense to me, but is that, it's not.
Well,
it's
I
not-
guess the towns, they don't have to adopt, it gives, the statutes allow the individual towns to adopt a regulation requiring that.
And that regulation is a brushstroke over all sizes of property?
Well, no, you can waive the open space requirement in its entirety, in theory. But in Connecticut, we've come up with this idea that in lieu of an actual grant of open space, towns can require a fee in lieu of open space. The purpose of that fee is not to go into the general fund of the town, but to go into in our case, what we call the land acquisition fund, which
Right.
is used to acquire other open space, which would
That's right.
presumably benefit residents of this subdivision along with the residents of all subdivisions.
Right.
The original idea for open space was that when you created a subdivision, you should set aside 10% of the area of the subdivision for open space and recreation to benefit the residents of that subdivision. Now, so that doesn't really make a lot of sense when you only have 2 lots, obviously, and probably doesn't make a lot of sense in the case of most subdivisions. But so there's a long history relating to all this. It's kind of been cobbled together over the years, leading us to where we are now. But there is state law, as Aaron talked about, that allows us to do certain things and gives us a certain amount of discretion. So that's where we're trying to go, somewhere that it makes the most sense and where there's some reasonableness to the whole thing. But that's a brief.
Hopefully
of the
allow us to
subject.
generate some revenue to acquire properties that are more advantageous to the town. So, and to,
That's the idea, yeah.
Thanks, George.
Any other questions or discussion from commissioners? We have a motion and a second, so I'll call the vote. Sean Cosgrove,
Yes.
Richard Wallace,
Yes.
Frank DeAndrea,
Yes.
Jamie Stein,
Yes.
Bill Freeman,
Yes.
Scott Edmund.
Yes.
And I will also vote yes. Enjoy your project. Looks like a fun one. Oh, Chuck was muted.
I can't hear you, Chuck.
Okay, I want to thank everyone and have a safe evening.
Take care, Chuck.
Okay, take care.
Good
Bye.
night.
So we have pending applications, Amy Goldfarb, 49 South Fair Street, map 32, lot 63, zone R3, special permit per section 273 to legalize accessory apartment, public hearing tabled to 2/3/21. Someone, our next, and I'm just gonna put a vote to this because we have 3 items to table. Garrett Sullivan, 439 Boston Post Road, map 49, lot 25, zone TS site plan application to convert retail play cafe into preschool with installation of associated fenced play yard area tabled to 1/20/21. CMI Power and Landscape Supply, 2392 Boston Post Road, map 78, lot 16, zone TS2, site plan application for outdoor display and storage of drainage supplies and landscape materials for retail sales, tabled to 1/20/21. Would someone like to make that motion?
Make a motion?
Thank you.
Second.
All in favor, Sean Cosgrove,
Yes.
Richard Wallace,
Yes.
Frank DeAndrea,
Yes.
Jamie Stein,
Yes.
Bill Freeman,
Yes.
Scott Edmund.
Yes.
And I will also vote to move those items. We have a new application for Dave and Mike's Antique Shop LLC, 588 Boston Post Road, map 48, lot 23, zone TS, site plan modification, including facade and site changes to convert former printing business into antique shop. And there's a request to receive and take action. Is somebody here from Dave and Mike's Antique Shop to tell us what's going on?
Bob
Yes,
Mangino.
can you hear me? Oh, can you hear me?
Yes, could you state your name and address for the record?
Yes. My name is Robert Mangino, architect, Guilford, Connecticut, 131 Talcott Road. I'm the applicant for the owner, and my client would like to change the existing Royal Printing building to an antique retail facility. He's purchased a building. We'd like to get the use changed to this antique business. We prepared the site plan. We've made an application and had a review by the design review committee. Briefly, it's the old Royal Printing building. The outside of the building, except for a few changes. One, on the right-hand side of the building where the main parking area is, we're putting in a 10-foot glass door to allow entrance to the wide warehouse space, as you can see. And above that door, we're providing a canopy and signage and lighting. Now, at the last design review meeting, we did explain to them that we did not have a design completed. And so we are going to return to them to show them the final sign design, canopy color, and the lights as a package. They did say that they would approve this, allow us to come before you for a site plan approval. One of the other changes which they requested, we all agree with, if you notice, I don't know if I can move this around, there was existing 2 spaces, parking spaces, as soon as you enter on the right-hand side. Both the design review, my client, my landscape designer, and I, we all said it would be nice if we provided a landscape buffer of 2 spaces. Again, I noted that we removed those 2 spaces and provide low planting. Those spaces are required as part of the application for our use of the whole building. I made a note that with low plantings, if the commission agrees with us, we'd like to be able to, hold on a second. Remove those 2 spaces, but have them as a future. What it does is the design review committee, myself, the applicant, and the owner and the landscape said, we'd like to soften that corner. For your information, between the, on the left-hand side of our property, there's a, as you know, is a parking lot, and then there's Wendy's restaurant. Connecting this parking lot is a curb cut from the parking lot into our property. It also connects the open parking lot to Wendy's. And there's a curb cut on Boston Post Road. So it is, since this is where everything's been there, that parking lot in essence is a shared parking lot between the tenants. It's obvious that the two spaces that we are removing on the right, the spaces can be used in the public area because again, it's adjacent to our property, it's within 300 feet. So we'd like the commission to say that you're in agreement that, yeah, we'd like to soften that thing, like that area. Take those two spaces, either make them as future if we ever have to take the planting out, or just allow them to be used in the parking area, existing parking area. We've identified, and we're going to restrike the parking lot to make sure they meet ADA compliance. The spaces are counted properly. We've also identified some outside storage areas. My client may have an antique vehicle parked in those areas, so people can go outside and review those parking areas. The paved area, the drains, et cetera, all remaining as they are. The inside building will be refurbished on a building code area. It'll meet means of egress compliance, ADA compliance. In fact, we're sprinkling the building as part of their approval process and application. So before you're to ask for change of use, and as I mentioned, we're going to go before design review again for a final review of the signage, canopy, and the lights that light up the sign. And the Sandy, who provided the landscape design, which we submitted with some revisions, we're going to resubmit to design review with those basically 4 items: landscaping, lighting, the sign, and the canopy color. So we'd like to be able to at least have an approval for a change of use, and then we can continue doing the inside renovation of the building with the building department and the fire marshal. And within the next application design review, have them approve our sign design and our lighting fixtures over the sign. That's briefly the application. It's nice that the building will be used for what it is. And the antique items will be of the higher priced area. It's not a flea bag shop. It's not a swap area. It's there will be items of substance that will be in the they will be selling. That's briefly the application. It's an improvement to the property. We're going to provide some landscaping, which my landscape designer, and I believe she may be online here, can explain it. And design review, I think, is comfortable with it. And hopefully the commission feels it's a good reuse of the property.
Quick question, Bob. Who owns the lot to the left?
It's owned by the food corporation. I think we know that. I think it's Wendy's. But as far as I know, the curb cuts have been there since Royal's been there, and it connects Wendy's, the lot, and ours with the curb cut. So as far as I know, it's always been used as just a parking lot between everybody.
That's very
There's been
nice.
no fencing at our, as you can see, at our curb cut, at their curb cut, and there's the curb cut off of Boston Post Road. So anybody in essence can park there because there's no sign that says do not park. And I think it's been there for at least for maybe George probably will know, at least for 30 years.
Yeah, it's been there for a long time. I don't know that there's a formal agreement between the two property owners. It's just been kind of informal. There's clearly an abundance of parking available to the two uses.
And yeah, I think that's why the curb cuts, I didn't bother checking the legal easements, but the curb cut is from us to them to the Wendy's. And we're certainly open to share community, because I know it's one of your regs is you'd like to be able to have, particular buildings share the parking to minimize, to share it, which makes common sense.
I was just curious. Thank you for your clarification.
Is the new use going to use the entire building?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
The whole, we have a floor plan. It shows the whole first floor is open. And the second floor that does exist, we listed as storage. They have individual rooms so they can lock up, we'll call them items of more value, and then they bring them down to the lower level for display and for selling.
Terrific.
Bob, are you proposing anything for site lighting?
The existing site lighting is acceptable. There is lighting on the building, which we're going to submit to design review as part of the sign lightage over the signs. So there are a couple existing lights on the building. So we
Any
figured
pole
we submit that
lights
one
or
package to
bollards?
design review.
Any pole lights or bollards?
No. The
There's
lighting-
nothing.
Lighting's been sufficient for the last 30 years for Royal. We're just going to enhance the ones that are on the existing building.
Okay. What is the display areas? What is the surface? Is that paved?
Yeah, right now, that's existing asphalt. So we're just designating it as a place that they can park a vehicle outside. So there's nothing to resurface.
Is
We're
it,
just
is,
designating it.
okay. The area behind the building itself, is that
That's
bollard
existing,
off as a display
existing
area?
asphalt, and we just made sure we had 20 feet or 22 feet backup from those cars, so we can designate that area for some outside display, whether it's a couple of motorcycles, we call an ice cream van, something of something of character quality, and they can store outside. And in the
Not
evening, they go
curved or
inside.
anything.
So the outside is just daytime storage. There's no nighttime storage, which is going to be outside. Makes no sense. Not for the value of the items.
Okay.
Can you verify the number of parking spaces you have? There was question from the building official as to the requirement of the number of ADA parking spaces.
Again, if you're over 25, we needed 2. So I provided 2 spaces. On the, if you look at the front door, the combination is 8 foot, 8 foot slash, and 8 foot. So we provided 2 because we're over that 25 foot
Okay.
mark.
There was a discrepancy between the parking on your site plan and the landscaping plan. That's why I wanted to clarify that.
Well, 2 things. I'll check the landscaping. We'll say my site plan really should dictate because I put the zoning information on mine. But I'll make sure by the time we go to design review that the landscape designer reflects what we have, because that's what we're going to strike.
So
And
the
I know-
design review
I know
committee,
we are short 2 by the 2 I take away, but I'm putting them in the open parking lot.
okay. The design review committee is recommending to the Planning and Zoning Commission that the landscape plan be revised to reflect their comments. Do
Right,
you
and I
have those
submitted that as a
revisions?
sketch to the commission now, which is part of the application. Sandy will present it formally to the design review at their next meeting because it reflects, it's a hand sketch off of her original design, which I included as part of this package to show she did address their concerns as to the plantings in the front and the type of plantings along the right-hand property. So
From their
it is
second
included.
meeting?
We want to go back to them with landscaping, lighting, and canopy.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Any questions from commissioners? This is not a public hearing, so do we have a motion?
Yes, I'll share that.
Thanks. Let's see, who hasn't chipped in? How about Bill?
For Mo's motion, Mike and Dave's Antique Shop voted that the Guilford Planning and Zoning Commission approved a site plan application for Mike and Dave's Antique Shop at 588 Boston Post Road, map 48, lot 23, as shown on Mike and Dave's Antique Shop 4 sheets prepared by Robert Mangino, architect, dated 12/5/20. This application is approved with the following conditions: that the application conform to the recommendations of the Design Review Committee.
I think they would prefer the divine.
Yeah. Very good.
That was good. This application is approved based on finding that it conforms to the zoning code.
That made my night.
Aaron, that's enough to cover the signage that needs to get figured out, the lighting and everything.
Right, so there's no site lighting proposed. Any change to building lighting will
Would be on
have
the building.
to return
Yeah.
to Design Review Committee.
Is that the right date for that, for your recent plan, Mangino?
That's what I'm checking. I have a revision. What was the date that, the revision I had was 12/5/20, is that correct?
Yes, that's it.
Okay, that's my revision date. And we are in agreement, of course, with your conditions.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Sean. Discussion? I think it's a great reuse of the building.
Agreed.
You know, it's certainly a lot better than seeing a vacant building sitting there for a couple years, I think.
Yeah, ever since Sue died.
Yeah. So,
We don't have to approve a change of use because it's a TS district, correct?
If it were just interior change in use, it wouldn't be. These are site plan, this actual site
This is just a site
modification.
plan, yeah.
That's why it's back before you. And facade changes.
speaking of which, you know, the one right down the street is significant improvement for the.
The plumb, yeah.
Plimpton
Really?
and-
Yeah, the old New England Supply.
Looks fan- it looks
Emerson.
such an improvement. So we have a motion and a second. Unless there's further discussion, I'll call a vote. Sean Cosgrove,
Yes.
Richard Wallace,
Yes,
Frank DeAndrea, Jamie Stein,
Yes.
Bill Freeman,
Yes.
Scott Edmund,
Yes.
and I will also vote yes. Thank you very much for your presentation. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for the commission working with us, and hopefully we'll be opening soon. Thank you a lot.
Take care.
I know the minutes came out late, so if people did not have a chance to review them, we can either, I did review them and they look okay. But if people want to wait until our next meeting, or we can proceed with an approval on the minutes.
I read them. So
I read.
I read
read
them
'em.
online this morning.
We got enough to move forward. Would someone like to make a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Thank you,
Second.
Richard. You got right in under the wire, Richard. Good for you. Sean Cosgrove,
Yes.
Richard Wallace,
Yes,
Frank DeAndrea,
Aye.
Jamie Stein,
Yes.
Bill Freeman,
Yes.
Scott Edmund,
Yes.
and I shall also vote to approve the minutes. Before we make a motion to adjourn, I thank you all for coming out. And just on a personal note, I hope we can find some quieter times down in DC. But I think, you know, working together here shows that not all about politics. It's about people working together. So would someone like to make a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Thank you. Someone want to make,
Second.
by a show of hands, all in favor of adjourning for the evening?
good evening.
Let the record show it was unanimous. Thanks, guys. Take care, all right? Be
Good
safe.
night.
Good night.
Good night.
Thank you.
Take care.